Incoming transmission.
Hey everybody, this is Ed, and this is another Boosting the Signal. This week, my guest is Jaay Cozy. He is a filmmaker and content creator and all around Star Trek fan, and I wanted to get to know him. Jay, how's it going?
What's going good? How are you?
Not too shabby. It's a warm one where I'm at, but I know where you are, and I know it has to be at least double that. So
Yes, it's pretty hot. It's already almost 90 degrees already. I think it might get up to maybe 100 today, maybe. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. See, I'm not going to complain about my weather then, not at all. I turned off my air conditioning, which I thought might have been a mistake, but I didn't want to have the background noise,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's okay. There's other people suffering worse than I am.
That is true. It can always be worse.
We shockingly, not to talk about the weather, we're not the Weather Channel here, but we did hit 105 the other day, which is really
Ooh,
odd for Ohio, specifically this time of the year. So
yeah.
I was a little surprised. I want to get right to it. I want to ask you. So thanks for coming on. You
Oh, thanks for
reached
having
out
me.
when I put out the bat signal, as it were, to
Yes. Yes.
I needed guests, and I appreciate you reaching out. How did you discover boosting the signal?
Oh, my primary platform is Instagram. And I would just scrolling along, just checking my Instagram, and stuff like that, messages and all that. I was kind of doing a little bit of doom scrolling, not gonna lie. And I came across Zyla and Zyla Tracks, and I saw on her page, you guys did the little, I think it was your page or her page, or y'all did the collab, whatever.
Right.
And I saw her promo picture pop up. I said, "Oh," I said, "Okay, well, congratulations. That's dope." So I happened to see who she was, collabing with, and it said "Boost the Signal." I said, "Oh wow, let me look further into that." And so I went on your page, and I saw the call out saying, "Hey, if you want to, pop in, let me know." And I said, "Oh, why the hell not? I'll go ahead and hit them up and see. The worst they can tell me is no." So, so
I,
that's how I came across, your show. And honestly, I'm trying to be on every show I can. So
No,
why not?
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm one that never turned down an invitation or a
Oh yeah.
request. I
Yeah.
um I think there's only been one time I've told someone no, and it wasn't malicious or anything. It was just they'd already been on the show, and
Ah.
let's give other people a chance. And nothing malicious. It was just we'll come back around.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Absolutely. Got to keep it fresh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was watching your bootleg Trek videos on Instagram after you had reached out, and I was like, I really love them, and I like the fact I love the effects. I'll be honest with you, I was jealous of the effects. I'm like, oh, I got to look into how he's doing these effects. They were they were good because there's sometimes I think I want to do some effects on here and spruce it up, make it look a little bit better,
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely recommend people check out your fan films, but more than just Star Trek. You've got some wonderful fan films, not just fan films, but films that you're
Yes.
creating.
Yes.
And you I've seen the FEP films. Is that your company?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you
That is
like to tell
mine.
everybody about that?
Yeah. So FEP, it stands for Fill Every Piece. So basically, I came up with that because I want the audience, I want my clients, I want everybody to feel every piece of the experience of what we're trying to tell, what we're trying to show, what we're trying to present. We want people to feel every piece of it. You know what I'm saying? Get into it. So that's where I came up with that, feel every piece of this, you know what I'm saying? And I just went with it and created the logo myself. Obviously, it's the outline of the state of Arizona because I live in Arizona and it actually was created because I was working on two short films with. I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna bust them out, but I was working with another person that was another videographer that had their own business. And long story short, it was just. Can I cuss on your show or no?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm not monetized.
Oh, okay, cool. It it was a shit show. I'm gonna be honest with you, and so I had to fire that videographer and his team, and I took that frustration and anger, and it led me to, you know what, I can do the shit myself. The only reason why I hired another videographer to do it is because I didn't want to sit here in this chair for hours on end, and I'm sure you know how that is.
Yeah.
Sitting here for hours on end, editing video. I didn't want to do that shit. But since I couldn't get people to add rises, you know what? You're just better off doing the shit yourself. You want stuff done right, do it yourself. So that's how that took off, and I've been doing my own thing. I film, I do all the editing. Everything you see on Instagram, that's all my work, you know. So that's how that came to be. That is the genesis of it. That's how it came to be.
Oh, I can appreciate that and probably relate to that statement more than any other statement I have heard in the last year, simply because I'm the same way. I think if I want it done right, I'm going to do it myself, and I understand it's difficult. Like everything that I have ever put out, it's all me. It's all the same editing. It's all the same graphics, and I haven't. I don't know what you use, so I'm not trying to shame anybody, but I don't use AI. You know, I've been very adamant at not going the AI route. Um, but it can be difficult. It be time consuming, but and it can also be disheartening when you don't see the likes or the love that you would want, specifically if you believe that, you know, you put your heart into it.
Right. So I have no shame in it. So when it comes to the AI, I'm only using that. So I have some really, I don't know if you saw my little sneak peek of episode 2, part 7 I got coming out. When it comes to the AI aspect, as far as bootleg track, I'm only using that when I'm creating the realistic shots of my ship. So I'm
Okay.
using that usually just for external purposes only, just the ship. Because I've been using, since the beginning of bootleg trek, I've been using the video game Star Trek Online, and I would literally get my my phone and I will record, you know, the ship in battle and all that, and then I'll go back with I'll overlay it with the epic music, the phaser effects and all that and stuff like that. But I was like, you know, what if I step it up a little bit with the, as far as the graphics of it, to really, you know what I'm saying? And I released a video, oh man, a few weeks back. It was a sneak peek, and all it was my ship, the USS Kodiak, a sovereign class, and it's taking on this big giant. It's my version of the Borg, because remember,
Okay.
bootleg trek
I
is a
did see
parody.
this one.
Yes, I loved how that looked. So when it comes to the exterior shot stuff that Star Trek Online is not going to be able to give me, then I use the AI. And then as far as like other things I've done, like for example, I did 2 AI videos so far. I did a trailer called Area of Operation. Basically, it's about a city in the United States gets attacked and how do we respond to it. I thought it looked pretty. I thought it was cool. And then I did recently. It's a concept I plan on actually filming in real life. It's called Wrong Town. I released the trailer and the movie to that. Basically, it's about a guy, a black federal agent. He's on his way to Phoenix. He's on an assignment, but somehow his GPS takes him off course, and he gets into this small little town that is filled with racist people, and he has to fight his way out of that. So, yeah.
Are you sure it's not Ohio? 'Cause, I mean, I've seen
No.
a few towns like that around here.
No, and we got some towns here. I did get some hate. I actually had a couple of haters that saw the trailer. They decided to be disrespectful in the comment section, and I bust them out on my story. I called them back out. But no, it takes place here in Arizona. It's a fictional town called Clevis. Doesn't exist. And I just thought, you know what, this would be dope. And the reason why I picked Arizona for this, I guess, controversial short film is because I love Arizona. It's my home state. I've been here for a very, very long time, since 1992. I mean, of course, you know, once I got older, I traveled with work and all that.
Right.
But I picked Arizona because it is such a beautiful state. It has so much areas to film. It has a lot to offer. It reminds me a lot of California. And the sad thing is, once the whole Wild Wild West, Western movies started to fade, well, Arizona faded along with those movies.
Yeah.
And I feel that, I know I can't do it all on my own, but I want to put Arizona on the map that, hey, we have a lot of talent out here. Let's get some filming out here. And that's why I picked Arizona for that racist little town. So
Yeah, well, yeah, no argument. I've been to Arizona, and it's a beautiful state.
yeah.
I admittedly I have only been to a small portion of Arizona,
Oh, that's
but
all right.
yeah, if nothing else, I can fill in on a map that I was there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then when I think, I'll be honest with you, kind of going off track, on track. When I think
That's fine.
you're right. Arizona is probably perfect. I'm a Public Enemy guy, so the first thing that's coming to mind is by the time I get to Arizona, I'm thinking about that, and it's so I get it. It's like okay, I get where you're going.
Yeah.
Um, so now, what's your process? I mean, you've touched on a little bit of that, but like when it comes to filming, and are you one to film your ideas in sequential order, or are you like sporadically? Okay, here's this. I have the moment. I can do this, and then put it together in editing, or how's that go?
So that is a good question, Ed. So it's sometimes it could be a combination of both. I really like to do things in sequence because I like to be organized, and I think when things are organized, I guess that's just my military upbringing, and I work with the military, so I guess that's just by default. Being around the military all my life since diapers, literally, I like things to be in order because for me it's just so much better. But then there are times where I will do stuff in a sequential order or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, and all of a sudden just I get these ideas just pop in my head. I'm like, you know what? To hell with this. Let's just go with this. So there are times where it is sporadic, and actually sometimes, and a lot of times, those sporadic ideas or last minute what changes actually works out better than what I military planned. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it works out great. But yeah, I like to do things in order, but sometimes it doesn't always go that way. And I think that's what makes filming and creating so beautiful and awesome is sometimes it's not always dress right dress. Sometimes it's just sporadic and it blows up.
So, what was your inspiration to going into filming and storytelling?
Great question. So the drive behind that, to be totally honest with you, is I've always loved watching movies ever since I was a kid, and I was really big into a lot of the tactical stuff. Again, military raised, so that's kind of not a surprise. But I love watching, like, for example, the first martial artist I saw growing up was Jackie Chan,
Okay.
and his first, well, to me, was my first movie that I saw of him was that was when he finally broke into the U.S. filming. That was his 1990, was it 95 or 96 Rumble in the Bronx,
Okay.
and I loved it. I loved how he was, just kicking ass and all that crazy shit, and I was like, yo, that's dope. And I love watching a lot of action movies like Arnold when he was doing a lot of his stuff back in the day, like Commando and Terminator, and oh, I love a whole bunch of shit. And I'm like, man, that is so cool. I want to do that. I want to do that. And but at the time, that was kind of hard for my dad to, he was a single parent. He raised me all by himself. He did 20 years in the Army. He retired and all that. And but at the time, it was kind of difficult for him to make time to take me to auditions and stuff like that. So I never got a chance to really uh, do all that. So until I got older to where I was able to, do my own thing. But that's what inspired me. And I see Star Trek, I see sci-fi, I see thrillers, horrors. Like I would love to film a short film zombie movie, but the problem is getting people, which is the hardest part for me is getting people to come through on these roles. But anyway, that's what inspired me, just seeing these people on TV. Michael Jai White, that's another one. I love his style. Jason Statham, Donnie Yen, I can list them all. And even Star Trek celebrities, they've been in so many other things. And I'm like, man, that's so, like LeVar Burton, started with Roots and Reading Rainbow. And I was like, wow, that is so, to me, I thought that was just so cool. And I started playing around with, editing programs. Now, back then, I was working with Windows Movie Maker. Very primitive program. You couldn't do a whole lot with it. But now with today's time and today's technology, there's so much stuff you can use to help you literally be your own Hollywood studio, if that makes any sense.
No, it does.
I mean, kind of a long ass answer. I'm sorry.
No. I like long ass answers. But it's like everything is in this. Like
exactly.
We can carry an entire film studio in our pocket now, and it's great. I want to say on the Jackie Chan thing, have you ever watched the Cannonball Run?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Which one? The newer one with Whoopi Goldberg or the old one?
No, I don't know Whoopi Goldberg. No, Cannonball Run. It was Dom DeLuise. Okay, it had Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds in it. It came out back in the early 80s. It was an early Jackie Chan film. Like, we're talking before he was in action films. And he doesn't speak English throughout the whole film, but it's worth checking out.
You know what? I apologize. The one with Whoopi Goldberg, that is Rat Race. I apologize. I saw Rat Race.
Rat Race was a remake of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. That was good film too.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that one over there. But yeah. So yeah, good film. I love Commando. You mentioned Commando, Arnold. I can remember when I was a kid always wanting to, I was like, I had an idea for an action film that never got made. I always thought Arnold would have been good for it. Now he's geriatric. Jason Statham. Yeah, I love Statham. I think there's probably only one Statham film I didn't like, but that's okay. Now, let me ask you, this is a question I try to ask everybody. What is your Star Trek story?
What is my story?
Yeah, like what brought you into the Star Trek universe? What caught your attention and said, hey, I like this?
Okay. This might be kind of a long answer, so forgive me. So that is a great question. So honestly, I got introduced with Trek once. Let me see. Once I was like, I think maybe 3 or 4. Okay, I was a small boy, and I remember watching my dad and my mother before they split. But it is what it is. But I remember watching Kirk. Now at that time, that was in the late 80s. So at that time, that's when Kirk was coming out with his movies.
Yeah.
So I started watching Kirk, from the motion picture, The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock. I don't watched all of them. And so I didn't see the original series until a little later on. I only knew about him in the movies. And so then when Picard and his crew came out, I used to watch The Next Generation with my dad, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Now, being a kid, you don't really understand all the undertones and the low key messages it putting out. I didn't understand it more until I got older. But what got me into it was just my dad got me in it, and I just saw I just thought it was cool, like mainly the ship and all the special effects and the transporter, the technology is what blew my mind. The fact that I can be right here, and within a few seconds or less, I can be in your house with a transporter or a food replicator. The fact that we can get on a starship and we can get to Mars in less than 5 minutes, that just blew my mind. I'm like, yo, this is some really cool shit. And as I got older, so by the time Voyager ended in May of 2001, I was in middle school when that ended. I loved Voyager, and it at the time, there were some things that I was going through. It was very relatable to what I saw on Voyager, and that's what really reeled me in on that show, because it was just so relatable. And of course, DS9 Cisco, big fan of that. I loved it, especially season 3. Let me rephrase that. Soon as he cut the hair off and grew the goatee, oh, it was go time. That man, that was a bad motherfucker. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a badass dude. Okay, that was, I loved it. And and seeing a minority, a black guy playing the lead character in Star Trek for the first time, that was, to me, that was big to me. That was a symbol of hope. And the main thing that got me hooked on it was the fact that you had a white man in the 60s had this vision of different people coming together to explore. The world is a big giant utopia. It's beautiful. And that really aligned with Martin Luther King's vision. And Martin Luther King, a lot of people don't know this, he was a Trekkie. And he was actually the one responsible to keeping Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, on the show, because originally she was going to quit the show. And he's like, no. You have no idea what you got going on. You cannot quit right now. You're not, the fact that you're a black woman on the bridge, you're a senior officer, you're not in a serving capacity like, black folks were shown as back in the day. We were always in a serving capacity. We're, a server, or we're a maid, or we're a housekeeper, or we're out in the fields picking cotton or whatever. The fact that she was at the top, she's on the bridge, the communication officer. So as I got older and I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So that's my answer to your question.
Yeah, Nichelle was very literally the voice of Star Trek. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
without her, no one got any information. And the beauty part about the '60s was, you're absolutely correct. It was, a utopian where all races and colors, creeds came together, but also it was never mentioned. Like nobody
Correct.
ever said, "Oh, the Russian guy," or the black woman, or the Asian. There was nothing. It was, Lieutenant Uhura. There was Lieutenant Sulu. There was Lieutenant Chekhov. It was their rank, and then the person. It was never, the skin color. And I think that's what was a a beauty. And I think that's one thing that I focused on myself. um, I don't know how well you have followed my page, but anyone who knows me knows I'm a Cisco guy. I
Yes,
have
you
an
are. Yes.
I have an entire Cisco section that I'm very proud of. I have his baseball. I have, it's like I love Cisco. That's my captain. Um, so I can always respect that. And you're right. It was the end of season 3, the last episode of season 3. He had the goatee. Season 4, he came back with the beard, or the beard and the shaved head. And you're right, that was the man called Hawk, bad motherfucker in the house. So yeah, I love, the only thing he was missing was a wallet that said bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
it was
I
good.
love Cisco, and I just like I said on other podcasts, I told everybody, I said, that man went through a lot of shit. First of all, he got screwed. First of all, they gonna put him on this. I call it, deep space hood. They're gonna put him in the hood of space on a broke ass space station that barely works. He got Chief O'Brien fixing it. You got drug dealers and all kind of black market shit going on the station. He was a commander still. He didn't get promoted until the end of season 3, finally. And he lost his wife in that opening scene of the first episode, Emissary. I think that was the name of that
Yeah,
episode.
emissary.
Emissary. And that was sad, that his wife died, and seeing the tension between him and Picard in the conference room on the Enterprise D. Oh, beautiful acting. It was beautiful. And DS9 was great. And I love seeing the fact that, and again, I'm not trying to be that guy because I like everybody, but the fact that seeing someone with my skin tone in charge, being in a leading role, and he ended up becoming one of the most successful captains in the whole entire franchise. It's beautiful. I mean, him next to Janeway, them two are just amazing because they dealt with things that the other captains just never really dealt with. So
Well said. Well said. Yeah, you could pretty much get me to talk Deep Space Nine and Cisco for an hour,
Oh
maybe
yes.
two. It's
Oh
I could do that. I could name off favorite moments and reasons
yes.
why. But so
I can.
let's get to favorite. Well, obviously, I was going to ask you your favorite captain. I guess I still can because I don't want to
Sure.
assume based on what you said that it was Cisco. But who would you say is your favorite captain?
Oh, I get asked this every podcast I've been on. They all ask me this. It's a toss up. I mean, I like them all. I really do. I love Kirk because he has that attitude. He's not really by the book all the time. He'd be ready to put hands. I mean, hell, he fought a damn miniaturized green looking Godzilla looking thing on the planet. I thought that was dope. I mean, this man fought Godzilla, but I don't want to get off track. But I am mad how they did Kirk. It's just like real quick. I gotta say this: the fact that this man don't been through all kind of shit. He don't came close to losing his ship. Okay, he lost his son. He lost Spock, but he got Spock back. He lost the Enterprise. Okay, but they gave him a new one. Okay, he fought Khan not once but twice. Almost got killed. Um, he been through all this shit. He fought Godzilla on the damn planet, and you're telling me he been through all that shit, and you guys are gonna take him out? A little ass bridge takes his ass out on Star Trek Generations. That shit pissed me off. They could have gave him a better ending than that. You know,
In some
uh,
ways, they did. Think about Unification. If you saw the Unification fan film from Otoy, in a
yes,
way, he does get his retribution. Now, here's my thing. You have me thinking about something that I've
yeah,
never thought until this very moment, and this is going to be controversial.
okay,
Okay, are you a religious person? I am not a religious person by any means, but
yes, I'm a man of faith. Yes,
okay. So you doesn't even though I'm not, I still have I've read the Bible,
sure,
but
sure,
so you have me thinking it's almost as if Kirk is Job. Think about the story of Job in the Bible. Everything is taken from Job to see if he can keep his faith. Will he keep
right,
his religion? And in the end, everything comes back to him for keeping his faith. It's almost like Kirk has a parallel to Job, and I don't think that's ever been something I've thought about. Because
yeah,
you mentioned he lost this and he lost that, but then he got it back, and
right.
so that's
That
interesting.
is interesting. I'm glad you said that. But yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get myself back on track to answer your question. Favorite captain? Oh, I, I'm in between Cisco and Janeway because Janeway she dealt with some shit that was not planned. I mean, she was just thrown out there, and she had some difficult choices. Do I save these Okampan people
Yeah.
and let the Kazon do what they want to do, or do I just worry about myself, my ship, and crew, and get us back to the Alpha Quadrant? That's oh my gosh, that is so difficult to do. And then the whole bullshit with Tuvix, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, my gosh, favorite captain. I don't really, you know what? I don't really, I just,
You,
oh,
you
here
bring you
comes the
bring up
bad.
Tuvix. It's like justice for Tuvix.
And it's so crazy. Here we are, 30 some years later, and that is still a conversation to this day. That is
Oh yeah.
amazing to me. But I would say the favorite captain, it got to be. I think I always change them. It's always one or the other. Is Cisco or Janeway? Oh my gosh.
I understand. It's a Sophie's choice, so I get it.
Uh, I would probably. I think I'm gonna go with Cisco on this one because it's just the fact that he he tried to follow the rules the best he can. He had a little Kirk in him, and I like that. Picard was always so diplomatic and shit, but Cisco and Kirk, they be ready to fight you. They don't care. And I
Picard
love
always needed saving.
was that
Picard needed saving. He always needed
yeah
help. You know.
yeah I he Picard Picard is a great captain, very strong captain.
I-
He's very smart. I love that. And he's very diplomatic. He's definitely a diplomatic guy. Kirk and Cisco, they're all about the rules until a certain point. After that, it's like, you know what? F this shit. We got to do what we got to do. And I love the episode where I forgot the name of the episode where he is telling his story about he can live with it, and he hold
Oh, in
up a
the
shot
pale
glass.
moonlight.
Yes, I love that. He's like, you know what? I can live with it, and I love that. So I got to give it to Cisco, but I also love Janeway. I have a huge heart for Janeway because she dealt with some shit that no other captain has dealt with. So.
And people always ask me who my favorite villain is, and I always say Eddington because I think about the episode
Ooh.
For the Uniform, and Cisco was willing to pollute an entire moon and make
Yes.
people leave their planet because he wanted to catch that son of a bitch. And I appreciated that. And Eddington was the worst villain. I mean, yes, Khan did some bad things and so on and so forth, but man, Eddington betrayed everything.
Yes, he did. And editing was a pain. And I hated how he just toyed with Cisco but I love that scene with them just going at it. That was just so beautiful. Cisco turns his chair around to the little holographic thing and you betrayed your uniform. I'm like, bro, that's so epic. I love that. And when I think of editing, I think of Seska because Voyager, Seska was kind of like the editing in Voyager, and I just loved how they played these characters. And but yes, For the Uniform was really good, and I love how Worf hesitated when Cisco was like, "Mr. Worf, fire torpedoes," and Worf is like, and he just turns around, "Worf, I said fire torpedoes," and Worf is like, "Aye, sir," and it's like. And then seeing Cisco punch Q in the face. Oh, I mean, come on. That's beautiful. No one's never hit Q.
Yeah, I think. No, okay. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, that was it.
I was gonna say, I think Worf's hesitation in that moment was simply the years of serving under Picard and thinking, okay, well, is he bullshitting? Is he like, do I do this? Is he gonna be like, oh no, I was just kidding, like, there could
Right.
have been that moment, like, so I get it to a varying degree. But yeah, you're right. When he turned around and he was yelling, you betrayed your uniform. I love that. That was a really good moment. And but anyways, yeah. So that does lead me to wonder, like, okay, you got your favorite captain. Does that favorite series? Is there a comfort series, one that you would say, okay, I've got to do some thinking. It's on in the background, whatever.
Okay, so this is the easier one for me. So as far as series wise, for me it's Voyager.
Oh, okay.
So to share a little bit of my past. So it was very relatable because the reason why it's so relatable is this. So as I mentioned earlier in the show, my dad was a single parent. So single parent, alone, he's in the military, he has to raise his kid alone, right? Sounds very familiar to Voyager. Voyager, one single ship, one captain, alone, no backup, no help. You got to figure it out. So, and that's kind of that comparison. The stuff that they dealt with reminded me a lot of stuff I went through with just having one parent, and trying to make that work. And, my mom coming, in and out of my life in different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different stages of my life. One moment she'll come and visit me. I am, I'm just a middle schooler or whatever. And then 4 years later, oh my God, my baby's graduating high school. He's 18. Oh my God. So for me, which was beautiful, my mother came out for my graduation for high school. So seeing my parents together, sitting down together for the first time in many, many years was a beautiful moment for me. And so that related to how Voyager finally made it back home. Well, now we see this young man finally make it to high school. He graduates, and finally he feels complete because he sees his family for the first time sitting down, watching their kid go across the stage. It was like, for me, I'm finally home. I did it. I made it. And you see Voyager finally made it. You see her getting escorted. She's back with the fleet. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No, it's a good analogy.
yeah. So that's why that show. Normally, I get a little choked up, but I'm managing that emotion right now. But that is why that show really hits me hard compared to the other ones. So.
You want to talk about weightlifting? We can talk about weightlifting because I know you keep yourself fit. I've seen the videos that you've posted and stuff.
Oh
Um,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
so I mean, I can appreciate that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I thank you. Yeah. Whew, man, I had a little tear coming down. We're doing good. We're doing good. But no, the more I talk about it, the better I get with coping with what happened in the past. But anyway, yes. So the gym, yes, the gym is definitely that is part of my lifestyle. That is part of my regimen. Matter of fact, I was in the gym just last night. I posted on my story. That was what I was in there for almost 3 hours. I was there. You could see I think I showed a little bit of on my story. It was almost sunrise pretty soon, and I was telling people like, yeah, I gotta get home, eat breakfast number one, get about 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep if that. Get back up, get myself cleaned up, be on your show. Well, I didn't say. I just said a podcast. I didn't reveal what it was yet.
No, that's
And
fine.
then I was like, yeah, I got to be on the podcast soon because I didn't know exactly how you wanted the promotion to be. So that's why I kind of kept it hush hush. I just said podcast. So I was like, yeah, I got to be on the podcast by 9. Then after I get done with that podcast, I got breakfast number 2 I got to eat. Then I got to, finish my editing because I'm working on a special bootleg track episode that I'll be releasing. It's going to be a 2-part special. It's not part of the main story. It's a standalone episode. I don't want to say too much what it's about, but it's going to be very, very good. So part 1 is going to be released this month, hopefully, and part 2 will be released hopefully right before. I want to release it before I go off to Star Trek Las Vegas. Are you going?
Unfortunately, I've never been, and I will not be. It's where I live. It's too far to travel, and
Yes. Yeah.
specifically with the way the money is these days.
Yeah, it's definitely not cheap. So Vegas for me is 8 hours away. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop in my truck and I'm gonna drive there. If I fly there, I can get to Vegas in within 50 minutes. But yeah, but anyway, let me get back. I'm sorry. The workout. Yes, I love working out. It's just a part of me. It works for me. I love the look it gives me, the strength. It helps me deal with bullshit at the workplace. You know how that is, dealing with different personalities. There's some that you get along with. There's some that you don't. There's some people that you're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to jail today. I want to choke the shit out of this motherfucker. So
We
the
do not
gym.
condone choking people, but okay, I get you.
So the gym and martial arts and me doing the filming and all my other hobbies, my motorcycle content and all that, because I ride bikes too. That helps me keep my mind occupied. It helps me deal with these different elements that life throws at you. But yes, I love the look of working out. I love how it comes with the look. It comes with confidence, the strength that I've gained, the fact that I can lift shit that the average American can't lift. That's amazing to me, and seeing my dad lift, when he was in his prime. My dad's almost 70. But in the 90s, oh yeah, you should have seen him, big boy, and he still got his size, being almost 70. And but yeah, I love working out, and I hope that I can motivate people somehow. They see me putting in that work, they can do the same. And the thing is, this is not me body shaming anybody, but what I'm also trying to do is I'm trying to change the shift. And what I mean by that is I've noticed, a lot of us nerds, we're out of shape and stuff like that. And what I want to do is I want to inspire that, hey, you know what? Just because you're a nerd, whether you like comic books or sci-fi shit, whatever, don't think, oh well, I'm a nerd, I gotta look this way, or I'm a loser. No, you're not. You're a person just like anybody else. And so I'm trying to show a different side of the nerd look. So because typically a nerd look, it's is what you see, and I'm trying to change that. And I think I throw a lot of people off because my content, as you see, my page is all over because I didn't want to do just fitness or just track or just motorcycles. There's so much stuff I like, so why not indulge in all of it?
Oh no, I get that. I like mine is pretty much one singular thing, but yet
Yeah.
I do have a personal page where I'll
Hell
post
yeah.
random stuff, So
Yeah.
I get it. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. You got to switch up because, see, with me, here's the thing. I would get burnt out if I did track all the time. I just can't do it. I
Yeah.
love Star Trek, but it's not me 24/7. I can't do
Oh,
it. So I tell people if I get burnt out, then my performance, the video will not be it won't be good because as you and I both know, the camera don't lie. It picks up everything,
yeah.
you know. But yeah, that's me when it comes to working out. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I apologize.
No, no, no. See, that's the thing. Like when Boosting the Signal started as a podcast, it was like, let's have people in the Star Trek community to come on and talk Star Trek, and
Yeah,
that's great. I'm all for that, and
yeah,
I'll do that. But there are things that we're an eclectic group of people. We are,
yes,
and our personalities change all the time, and so it's nice to give. Like the show is boosting the signal. It's not Star Trek into whatever or Star Trek this. The word Trek is nowhere in there, and so it is basically a place for people to come and say, "Hey, let's talk about you.
yeah.
Let's talk about what you like. Let's give you a chance to show people yourself and tell them like, hey, come check me out, and maybe we find more like-minded people. And there's a community of people out there that's not getting that opportunity to come on podcasts or be invited, and I thought, well, let's give them. And in the beginning it was like, if you look at the earlier episodes, I had a lot of friends on. I
Yes.
called in favors from people I've known for years, and so it was kind of like that's how that started. But then it was like, now we need to adjust. So, and I appreciate getting to know people like you and to understand your story.
I really appreciate the opportunity. This is great, and I love being on someone's show and be able to have that opportunity to, I guess, tell my story in a sense and talk about my creations and how my mind works a little bit because I'm constantly thinking, of what's next I'm going to film or what way can I choke somebody out. I'm sorry. That's just my mindset. I'm always that's just how I am. I'm always looking around, especially when I'm out in public. I'm looking at all the exits and entries and what someone wears, tattoos, what they
Yeah.
got on their feet, that's just how I was brought up. I mean, obviously, but and then being deployed in Afghanistan and all that. So that really enhanced that. But that's just me. But there's a lot to me, and I just love creating. I love having fun. There's so many hobbies and stuff that I love to do, and I'm glad that people like yourself and other shows allow me to, give me a little time to talk. I mean, because like I said, I tell everybody, if you let me take off, I'm like a plane. I will take off. I will talk because I can talk your ear off. But I try to reel myself in and try to. Sometimes they say less is best, but I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's good. And if I ever need a co-host, I'll bring you on. I'll be like, hey, I don't want to talk today. You just talk to Jay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm sorry if I'm just going on and on and on. It's just I'm
No,
just
you're
very
fine. You're absolutely fine. And the beauty is you've answered a couple of my questions that I had on my board to ask you, and you went into them, naturally, so I didn't have to
oh
ask
okay
the question. So I was like, okay, well, scratch that one off. But
yeah
no, we're getting close to our end time, and
oh man
which it goes by fast. It really does.
it does.
But I don't want to skip the fact of like, where can people can find you. I mean, obviously you're on Instagram,
Yes,
and are you on any other socials that you'd like to tell people about?
sure. So I am on Facebook. I don't really do a whole lot with Facebook. Originally, I started on Facebook with my content way before Bootleg Track. It was when Facebook came out, you know, and I was doing stuff, and I kind of gave up on it because I wasn't getting the outreach I want. I always had the same 10 to 15 people like, comment, share, which I am grateful for that. But I wanted to get beyond that. I wanted to get beyond my area where I live at, you know, and it just wasn't working for me. And so I decided to try out IG. And I took a long break for a while. I didn't do no content. I gave up on it. And then I got the bug to start it up again. And so I've had IG since it's been out. And I put a couple of things on there back in the day, and I gave up on that. And then I got back into it. I have a TikTok, but I got absolutely nothing on there except for a profile picture. Everyone's been trying to tell me, "Oh, you should put bootleg track on." I don't know, something about TikTok. I don't know.
I get you.
About it. I think it's a great platform, but just something about it. I don't know. What else? Facebook.
I was gonna say on the TikTok, my wife uses it. I don't use it. I actually got to the point where, like, for something happened, my email address was blocked. I was like, okay, well, what? I don't care. And I not to be political, but I've seen the people that own certain things like X or TikTok, and I refuse to support people that don't support what I support. So
I know exactly where you're going with that. I got you exactly.
But but no. Again, I'll let you continue. I apologize for that.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. No, this is your show. I work with what you give me. I got TikTok. I don't do nothing with it. It's the same name at BlackDog07. What else I got? That's usually about it. And then Snap, I have that, but that's just for select people. But I don't really do a whole lot on there except text. But primarily, IG has been so good overall. I mean, yes, it has the bullshit too, but overall, IG has been really good to me. I forgot to tell you. So, how bootleg track got created? If I got time.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so how that got created was just an idea. I've always loved Star Trek, as we talked about earlier on the show, and I said, what if I did something funny? And so I took my phone, and the very, very first installment it's actually terrible. I thought it was terrible. And I recorded it, and then I was hanging out with my buddy, who is my neighbor, who lives down the street from me, my boy Noel. I got you, brother. Noel, we were hanging out at his house, and I said, "Hey, man, let me show you this video I made. I made this, I call it bootleg track." So basically where the name came from was in the caption, it says, "When you get a bootleg copy from the swamp meet." That's how I got bootleg track, and I just stuck with that name. So he watched it, and he was like, "Bro, you got to post this. This is funny." And I was like, "Nah, man, anybody going to watch this shit? Nah. And so I went to work the next day, and I actually had the very first installment. It was actually in my recycle bin on my phone. I was about to delete it. So the next day I go to work, and took a little break. I went outside to get some fresh air, and I'm pacing back and forth like, should I post this? Should I delete it? Should I post it? Should I delete it? I said, you know what? F it. I'm going to post it. And then I said, I'll spend a little money and boost it just to give it a bigger outreach. Within a week or so, that thing just blew up. People were in the comment section like, "Yo, this is funny. You got to do more. You got to do more." And I was like, "Really? Y'all really like this, So I said, "Okay, I'll do a second installment," which was episode 1, part 2. That blew up. People are like, "You got to make more. You got to make more." Next thing I know, here we are, almost 2 years. This has been my longest running series, and something that was supposed to have been just a one-time skit, a hee ha ha, and that was it. I had no plans to make this into a series, and I ended up making a fan base off this parody of Star Trek. I'm using my house and shit as the ship, and using the video game, and now I'm using a little bit of the AI to enhance that a little bit. But it's amazing how this blew up. I didn't expect this to blow up, and it's gotten me to you, Black Nerd Podcast, Track Recommendation. I'm missing one. Damn, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
all
missing.
right.
It led me to all these different, the indie show and the transporter room. There we go. It led me to all these different opportunities, and people hit me up in the DM. Having fans, and I tell people, having fans is a privilege.
Yeah. And I think you do really well. And you're well spoken, and every appearance that you've made has been really good. I can appreciate that because the one thing I really like about when you make other appearances on other podcasts is I know what to avoid question wise because I don't want it to become a repeat of something that has already been asked.
Yeah,
It's try to give it. It's like I don't want people like, oh hey, Jay's over on here. It's probably the same thing, right? He's just gonna say the same thing, right? We don't want that. No.
yeah.
But no,
No,
I know I appreciate it.
I'm all about asking me questions. I try to stay open minded, and like I said, I bring the energy. Like I told you in the DM, I bring the energy, and yeah, I'm all about it. I love to get on here and have fun and talk track, talk whatever. I don't care. I like to just. It's all about having a good time for me. The experience is really what I like.
Well, I appreciate that, and I do appreciate your time. Um, I say all your links will be down below for everybody to find. If they're not, go follow Jay. Get on Instagram. You know, I recommend everybody follow you on TikTok just in case you ever do post anything there.
I appreciate that because I might migrate over a little bit. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I was like, follow you now, and that way they get on the ground level and they're there, and they can say, I was here then.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I appreciate your time, and I hope that the rest of your day you can stay as cool as this interview was, because I know it's a warm one out there. So,
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's been literally, this has been genuinely a privilege and an honor to be on your show, and that means a lot to me. So thank you.
no, the honor is mine. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.